Hey everybody, this video is going to be on the outline assignment specifically. There will be another video posted for the proposal essay, as well as some other key elements to the proposal essay. I'm going to try to do some short videos on the abstract and the integration of quotes into the proposal essay. But for this particular video, we're going to go over the outline specifically. So right now, I'm in the proposal folder that has all the links and resources and handouts for the proposal assignment. A lot of times, because I don't know what everyone comes into the class understanding, I will post multiple handouts so that you do have resources in addition to your textbook, so that you have things that you can review if you need them. Some of you may have done an argumentative essay or proposal in another class, and you may not need them, but I try to be thorough with making sure that you have as many resources as you can have to help with your success. It is up to you to go through those and read through those and ask questions if you have any. So for the outline assignment, I've posted it twice, and I just want to sort of go over that. So I did post it with all the handouts for the proposal as a whole, sort of a general folder here. In this folder, you will see some specific handouts that speak to different parts of the proposal essay. The proposal essay assignment is there if you want to preview that. I think it's important if you know what you're being asked to include, so that when you do the outline, you'll fully understand what you're supposed to put in the outline, because really the outline should serve as a pre-write for the proposal essay. And if you do well with the outline and you're very thorough and specific with it, your job in writing the proposal essay will be much easier if you spend the proper amount of time and energy in developing the outline properly. So part of that is a good idea is to review what you're being asked to do in the actual proposal essay, and also watch that video where I go over the different parts and expectations for that assignment. But then you're turning in and submitting an outline to show me the foundation of that essay. You're sort of developing that first. So the template is right here at the bottom, along with the other handouts that are available. And then I have a kind of a place here where I've included a couple of student samples of the outline to show you a polished result, as well as a repeat of the proposal outline assignment. What I did, and this was several semesters ago, I would teach the outline to my students in the face-to-face classes specifically. We would go over it in class, and then the students would turn things in, and it didn't look anything like the outline that we had reviewed in class. They kind of went on their own and just did whatever they wanted to do. They would turn in bullet points or just notes, just general things. And so I was having a lot of trouble getting students to understand what a formal outline looked like. So several years ago, I came home one night and just did a template of an outline with all the instructions, all the kind of steps included to show you what to do. And so if you take that template, and we're going to go over it together, and then just sort of take out my instructions and replace those with that part of the outline, you should be fine, because I've tried to develop a step-by-step instructional template so you can just use what I'm giving you rather than having to start with a blank page. So we're going to go over that together. I do expect that you turn in a formal outline. I do expect that you have your margins aligned and all the parts that I've asked for. So it's very important that you stick with me in this video so that you know what I'm expecting. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to succeed with the outline. Full disclosure, as a writer, I have not always been the most excited about doing outlines. I've kind of had a love-hate relationship with outlines. Many of you may have the same. I had a lot of high school teachers who would make us do so many outlines for so many assignments. I think I got burnt out on it. So I do understand if this is not your favorite thing to do. However, because the proposal essay is so specific and there's so many parts that have to be a certain way, I have found that when students do this outline for the proposal, it really does prepare them for success in the proposal essay. So that's why I'm assigning the outline. I'm not trying to ruin your life. I'm not trying to get you to do something as busy work. I really do believe that this will help you organize your essay and ensure that it is presented properly when you do turn that in after producing the preliminary assignments. So I'm going to go ahead and click into this template and sort of, we're going to just kind of go through it together, and hopefully, please open. Sometimes it can not do what I want it to. So this is the template that I've created, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can kind of see it well together. Okay, so one of the things I always tell students is, when I or any other instructor produces an instructional handout for you or gives you something that we're trying to help you and guide you through, we really don't want to see just our instructions coming back to us. So I think it's a good idea to make this your own and take out the parts that make it look like a handout or something. So here's what I would like for you to do, and I think is the best way to produce the assignment when you give it back to me. Go through, because I've made it sort of easy for you. Take out all the parts and sort of reformat the parts that aren't exactly, key to showing a proper final assignment. So if you notice here, I just took my words that were given in the little template, and I've sort of made them, I'm starting to shape them into the assignment that I would turn into the instructor. So I took out the directions that were at the top of the outline, and then I reformatted and rephrased the title. You do need a title to an outline. Many times you'll just see the word outline. In this case, it's fine to call it a proposal outline because that's what it is. Then I'm going to do kind of a return. I'm going to go up here, go over to the right. I'm just going to let you do an MLA header. You guys have had English 111, so you should know how to do that. So you'll have your name here, your name, not the word name. And then you'll have my name. You can just put Austin, it's fine. And then the course, I don't know why it's kind of being weird with the formatting. And then you can put the section number if you want, and then the date. Because this is doing kind of weird things with the formatting, I'm going to go back up here and make it all Times New Roman. I'm going to make it 12-point font. I'm going to go over here to this paragraph link and make it, so I don't know if it's still not the best in the world. I don't know why it's doing that. It's being a little weird. Sometimes if it does something like that, I'll try to see, how I can reshape it, and then I'll see if I can get it just to go double space. It's still looking a little weird, but you get the idea. Then you're going to want to, because MLA and APA require page numbering, you're going to go up here and you want to insert page number, top of the page. We're going to choose the one that's at the far right, and it'll do all the work for us. Since it's MLA, you're going to want to put your last name. Don't put the words the last name, put your last name. So for me, it would be Austin here. And then you're going to make sure that you go back over here to home, and we're going to make it Times New Roman. These are all details that you as a student wanting that best grade, wanting the A, so that you're not emailing me saying, Miss Austin, why did I fail this assignment? A lot of times it's these little details that you have to fix. A lot of students say, why are you so picky, Miss Austin? And I say, one, it's an English class, and English deals a lot with formatting and protocols for the formatting. And second, you guys are in college to be paid good money at your jobs. And many of you have indicated you want to be a nurse, or you want to be an engineer, or you want to be a police officer, radiologist. All of these things require detailed work. And we want you to be successful in those careers, so you have to start good habits now. And, a police officer can't investigate a crime scene and not be meticulous with the details. A nurse cannot help a patient without meticulous details to the care, and so on. So that's part of, why college work requires certain formatting or requires certain rule following. So it's not just me trying to make your life difficult. I have presented this outline in single space. You're welcome to make it double space if it makes it kind of sit on the page better, but I will not take off points if it's double spaced. I mean, if it's single spaced, it's fine the way it is. Usually in an outline, the different headers with the Roman numerals are not in bold. I made a choice in making this handout to make them bold because I was trying to emphasize to you the different main parts of the proposal essay. If you want to leave them as bold, that's fine. I just want to mention to you that if you would do an outline in another class, the headers wouldn't be bold. But here I'm just trying to emphasize some things that I'm requiring for the proposal essay. All right, so the other thing I want to point out is generally with writing formal outlines, you do not, this looks weird. This is not the right, no, it is. It didn't look like Times New Roman, but it is. Generally, when you write an outline, you would just have the word introduction to be sort of a placeholder to show that there's going to be an introduction paragraph or an introduction section in the paper. In this case, I am asking you to be fully detailed because I'm trying to give you feedback, and I'm also trying to help you be prepared to write the proposal and hopefully make it a little easier when you transition to writing the full sentences and the paragraphs and everything. So I have created an A, B, and a C to show you the different sections that need to be included in that introduction paragraph. So I want you, when you show me this outline, to show me these sections, okay? So I had mentioned that all the parts of this template have directions. I want you to read what I'm asking you to do here, but then I want you to replace it with what your sentence is going to be for that section. So all good essays start with an attention grabber. I do want you to you will get points taken off if you present a question as your attention grabber. In academic writing, especially with argumentative writing, it is not favorable to start with a question because you do not want to present yourself in a weaker element, a weaker way to be starting off asking the reader questions, because you need to have command over the topic. And if you start asking the reader too many questions, if I were the reader, I'd be like, don't they know? Didn't they do the research? So while you may in another class give a speech, and it's perfectly fine to use the question hook in a speech, or maybe you're in another class and the instructor has, especially in a high school class, they use hooks a lot with questions. That is not a favorable way to write formal research essays. So you kind of need to break that habit unless an instructor specifically asks for that, like I said, in a speech. There are some styles of speeches that you would start with a question, but for the most part, if you've been used to doing the questions in a high school class, we don't do that in the college level writing. So the attention grabber should be something that gets the reader interested in continuing the relationship with the paper. Again, you do not want to be super specific. You want to do something that's broad but interesting. So you could do a fact, a general fact. You could state things that are going on in that industry. I know early in the semester we talked about the helium shortage with medical gases, and especially after COVID, and some of the oxygen and things were being used so much in hospitals. But helium has been for many years a shortage in the medical gases industry. So to get someone's attention for that, I would probably start off with something, millions of families use helium every year to use for balloons at parties, but they may not think about the other uses of the helium for medical care. Automatically, I've sort of touched on something that everyone understands with helium without kind of getting into the details yet. I've sort of gotten their attention, like, yeah, I've had a helium balloon at a party before, or I've gone to Party City to fill up a balloon. So that's the way you use an attention grabber, is to just find common ground with the reader. You can't jump from something very broad to something very specific, so you want some transitional sentences in the middle. I've just put a B here, so if you need a B and a C and then your proposition or claim statement comes forth, you could have a B and a C, and then the D would be the claim statement. But you want some transitional sentences that are going to narrow the idea and get more to the meat of the matter and more of the specifics. So you wouldn't spend the whole introduction talking about parties and helium balloons and things. You've gotten the reader's attention, so you want to start focusing more on the credible information or the academic toned information in the introduction. You want to kind of lead the reader to the specific claim statement. So that would be 1 to 2 sentences. Usually introductions are about 4 sentences long, maybe 5 at the most. They're very short and brief. Once you've shown those transition sentences, and again, what I'm telling you to do is to highlight this, delete it, and then type in your own phrasing. So here, I could type, okay, so I just sort of typed off the cuff. Don't judge me. I just kind of did it right here with you. But I wrote, everyone has probably been to a party that uses helium balloons for decorations, but they may not realize what that helium is used for medical diagnosis. So I've kind of opened up the idea, and then you're going to go to the transition sentences, and then that's when you would bring in what helium might be used for, or, the MRI uses for medical diagnosis, that kind of thing. Then you're going to, and so for each one of these, please remember, you're going to go back over it and you're going to type in a statement here. Okay. Don't give me whole paragraphs. Don't try to write the essay and then copy and paste it into this outline. You won't do well if you're giving me full paragraphs here, but just quick little statements that will help you transition to the essay. So here you can do 1 or 2 transition sentences to kind of narrow the idea. And then we get down to the claim statement. You guys have been working on a claim statement since the beginning of this class when we first were doing the shaping of your topic. I would imagine that by this point you might have some better ideas about the claim. You may have reshaped it slightly. You can't shift your whole focus of your research, but you probably want to revise that first claim that you wrote, because that was probably a very basic idea and you just not fully formed understanding what you're going to do with the research. So here is your chance, and I'm going to look at this when I grade the outline. You need to show me the final draft of that claim statement. You want to show me the best you have to give me to show me where your research stands and what you are claiming as a solution to the issue that you have researched all semester. So I don't know a lot about helium, to be honest. I hear my husband talk about it a lot, but I might claim that something about there should be international regulations for the distribution of helium when there is a shortage. So, and then in my essay, I would try to use research to prove how wasteful the entertainment use of it is when there are people waiting for MRIs. There have been cases where people are put on waiting lists for MRI diagnosis, and that can be life or death sometimes if they're trying to diagnose a serious illness. So I'd probably bring that kind of research in to prove it. But my claim would state something along the lines, I would probably try to prove that there need to be better international regulations for the distribution of helium and the use for helium when there is a shortage. So again, that's a very layman's, non-scientific claim statement for that. I'm sure you are more in touch with your research because it's something you've read more intensely and something that you've worked with over these last weeks of the semester. Once you produce this introduction, and again, I am telling you, do not give me back my instructions. You need, for each section, you need to see what I'm asking you to do, read the directions, and then I want you to give me the statement. Now, that exact statement may not make its way into that essay, but it should serve as a guide for how you're going to establish that in the essay once you move from the outline to the essay. So the exact sentences do not have to be copied and pasted into the essay. And like I said, please don't go write that essay and then copy and paste a whole essay into this outline. Outlines are brief, and it's meant to be a skeleton or a foundation for the bigger project, the bigger essay. But please do not show me my own instructions here. This was done as something to help you succeed with these assignments, and it was done to help guide you through producing and shaping the essay. So every semester I have a student give me my own outline back with none of their own words. I will tell you, I will probably not have a lot of grace with this. Make sure that you name it using your name, the name of the assignment, and the word final so that you know you're giving me the outline. Because too many times students are giving me back my same handout that I spent the time to produce, and they've not put any of their own work into it. So just trying to encourage you to be put some attention to the details. Usually whenever you're doing an essay with research, your reader is not fully aware of the topic. They're not informed like you would be because you've done the research. Or even if you were in a profession and you were writing a proposal, your audience, even if they're in the same profession, may not be as informed about that specific part of the research. And so you have to establish some familiarity with them. So you want to include some background. You want to summarize some things for them. So I've given you sort of some ideas here that you can include in the background paragraph of the proposal. First, you probably want to describe the problem or the issue and establish that it is something that needs attention and is something that needs change. Then you want to include some background information so the reader is familiar. You don't have to tell everything, but just make them a little bit more informed about the topic and the research, and you want to sort of shape that for them. So by the time they get into the main part of your proposal, they're sort of on board, because remember, you're trying to persuade them, and without establishing this background information, they may not be fully invested. If you were writing a proposal in a professional setting, maybe you're proposing funding for a building, proposing funding for a new position, or a renovation to a part of your office space. You would have to get the people who have the money to spend or who make the decisions. You would have to convince them that this is important. And because everybody's not always on the same page, this background section is a way to get the people to be fully invested. And you want someone to really believe this as credible information and something that needs attention. So that background section is when you're sort of establishing that for the reader. Next, when you start with Roman numeral 3, and notice how all of these things are lined up. You have to do that. The main headers, you don't have to really, you need to take out my directions. Like here, you would take out my directions, but you could keep it as background summary, or you could change it to what you want. Introduction should stay the same. After your main header, the points that follow that main header are sort of distributed with using the capital letters. You're not allowed to change that. Don't give me bullet points. Don't give me lowercase letters. Don't put numbers here. So don't put the number 2 there. It has to be a Roman numeral. You can go under the letters. So here I'm going to sort of do this. And once you go under the letters, you're going to do 1 and 2. You can't have an A without a B, and you can't have a 1 without a 2 in formal outlines. Each section does not have to be parallel. So if one section has A, B, C, D, the next section could just have an A, B, C or an A, B. But you can never just have an A alone, and you can never just have a 1 alone. So if you want to include additional details, because you think that may help you write the proposal and it sort of positions some things, you could put what research you're going to use here. You could put anything you want that you're going to include in the essay, because remember, the outline, not only is it showing me where you stand with your organization, it's helping you when you go to write that paper. So under each of the details under the header, you can make it more specific with a 1 and 2 under it. But don't just put a 1. That would count off points. You could have a 1, 2, 3 if you want. Again, they don't have to be all parallel. But if you want to include some specific things, you can do that under the letters. Okay. So under the background, give history, give reasoning why this needs to change, background, maybe the history of the problem, that kind of thing. When you get to Roman numeral 3, this is when you're really going to get into the meat of the proof for the proposal. So one of the things I want to bring up to you is I've sort of presented like a Roman numeral 3, 4, and 5 here for the main body of this proposal. However, you guys are doing a vast array of different kinds of research, and you have different levels of research and different things you have to prove. So for this middle part of the outline, you can deviate slightly. I've just sort of given you the best I have to give for a general kind of overview of how to present a proposal, but because proposals are different with different levels of outcome or different things that the research will prove, this middle part, you need to shape yourself. So it doesn't have to just be 3 paragraphs. It could be 4. It could be 2. It could be 5. It can be however you want to do that. But I've sort of given you the most general version of it that I can, not knowing what everyone's doing with their research. So the way I presented it is you would present the solution and the problem with specific support to prove that it is a problem, to maybe show some things, some goals with the solution, some things that have been implemented, steps with how to achieve this solution. And I've sort of tried to show you some ideas here. If you have a different way that you've organized the proof of the purpose for this proposal, you can reshape this section of the outline. But you at least, I would say you at least need 3 things that are going to prove. 3 is a good number. If you have 2 strong ones, that's okay, but I think 3 of something need to be in there. But I've tried to show you what to include here. So here you present the solution with the problem, specific support. You're trying to, again, prove to the reader why they need to be invested, or why they need to engage with this information, why it should be believed to be a problem and a solution. This section, I sort of showed it as feasibility, how this solution will be implemented. What are the goals of the solution? What are the steps? Consequences, what will make things better if this is a change that is made. Again, generalized, you may have to shape it more specifically to your research. Finally, I've presented that you may want to argue the feasibility of the solution, like how is it going to be done? How much does it cost? Is there a cost for it? If money is required to build a building, to renovate something, to whatever you're asking someone to do, if money is required, you have to show research to show how that would be funded. A lot of times, some of these things have been tried in other states, other towns, other industries, other countries. Things have been tried with the solution, and you may be able to show how they paid for it. A couple of things you cannot do to prove how something's going to be paid for. No GoFundMes, no. If your friend breaks their leg and they need help buying crutches, that's a GoFundMe need. But we're talking about real research, real world things here, so no GoFundMes. That is, you don't know who's going to fund it or if it's going to be paid for, so that's not okay. Do not write something like, taxes will be raised, the government will pay for it. That's not even a thing. Okay, so the government is taxes. People pay taxes, whether it's gas tax, when you get taxed for your car, that some of that has tax built into it. We pay taxes through working. We pay, taxes, that's just a generalized term that really doesn't mean anything. If taxes are used, it's legislation involved. You can't, as an individual, say, okay, taxes are going to pay for that. So I don't want to see any of that. But you may be able to prove through your research that grants are available for this type of change. You may show how another country used some type of funding to pay for it. But I mean, I've had students say, we're going to do, the employees are going to pay for it. That is not realistic. So please do not present to me unrealistic terms of paying for something. If you're not sure how something like that would be paid for, then that's your responsibility to go research. And that's something you have to figure out for yourself. But don't just wing it and just put a bunch of stuff in there. It's sort of like, I'm a parent, so it's sort of like if one of my kids comes home and says, yeah, I need money for this. And then, of course, I just pay for it. And they're like, yeah, so that's how we pay for it. We just ask for help. No, that's not how the real world works. If it requires legislation, how will that legislation be changed? Don't just say a law is going to be passed, because we don't know. Are there similar laws somewhere else? How did another country do it? How did a different state do it? Maybe you're trying to say North Carolina should make a change. How did Texas do it? How did another area of the country handle this? If it's budget, dealing with company finances, I know some of you are doing cybersecurity. If you're suggesting that smaller businesses have heightened cybersecurity, how are they going to pay for that? Small businesses, meeting their needs monthly and sometimes falling short. So how are they going to add that cost? And my battery's going low. So finally, you're going to want to concede and show one or two obvious points in the opposing viewpoint for the argument, and then you're going to refute it. I'm going to discuss this in the outline essay video. So you're going to concede what points are from the opposing viewpoint, and then you're going to refute those points and bring the attention back to your proposal. Every argument has two sides. You're arguing your side. Think about what the opposition would be. Maybe it's too costly. Maybe it takes too many employees to make the change. Whatever it is, you need to concede that that is a problem with your proposal. Finally, you're going to restate your thesis statement here, your claim statement. You're going to give some transitional sentences at the end, and then you're going to make a final point in your outline. All of these things will transfer and transition over to your essay. Please watch the video that I will post on writing the proposal essay to help you merge these two assignments and do them successfully. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be glad to help you.